You know, the more I read this series and get to know the characters, the easier it is to follow. In the beginning, there was just too many characters, and I was scattered all over the place, busy keeping notes and keeping track of all the characters and stuff. But it's getting better now. This is the fifth book, so I'm getting more into it. So anyway, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, nothing extra special going on here. It's just me talking books. There's so many other sophisticated people out there, but I'm hoping you'll give me your support by hitting the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job just sitting here reading books, talking books. Those of you that are subscribed, thank you very much. Please spread the word because I need you to spread the word because it's just me sitting here. There's nobody else. So anyways, this is book 5, Murder at the Chateau. Alyssa Maxwell, a Gilded Newport mystery, book 5. All right, so we start off that she's at the a polo match between and there's been no news from Derek. She hasn't heard from him in a year. So she's at the polo match to cover the polo match for her newspaper. She's only allowed to do gossipy female stuff. She's not allowed to do hardcore stuff, although she wants to do hardcore stuff, but Mr. Milford won't let her. So anyways, she overhears a thing about a rash of robberies down at the town center. Then this lady Lila, who works at the Blue Moon Tavern, arrives at the event and demands to see Mrs. Wetmore. It's very important that she talk to him, but because of who she is and her low status in this world, she's not let in. Later, Jessie calls Emma to have her come to the Chateau Sumir. Now, my first thought is, in the cases where she stumbles upon an incident and is already involved from the beginning is one thing, but it's another thing for the cops to be calling her to assist. Yeah, maybe they should just make her a cop. So anyway, Jessie calls her to the crime scene. Lila was found dead in their at their house, and their line of thinking for most of the book is that she was put here to frame Mr. Whitmore, that there are some political figures in town and they want to implicate him in this so that they can get their way on some of these bills and initiatives that are going through the state, the law stuff. So Jessie reveals that he asked Emma to come with him because Mrs. Wetmore specifically requested her. So Mrs. Wetmore is surprised and astounded when it revealed what Miss Buford's Lila's occupation was. She didn't know. Miss Whitmore asked to meet with Emma privately. She tells Emma she thinks she is famous in the salons and all the other ladies' establishments. Her abilities are much admired, and she wants her to conduct her own investigation. Jessie later visits Emma and tells her the coroner said Lila's death, Lila was with child. So that raises a whole new thing, again pointing the finger at Mr. Wetmore. Lavina Andrews, Derek's mom, before she has even seen Derek, Lavina comes and says that she's been through a lot the past year and she sees no reason why Emma can't marry Derek, and proceeds to let's go start making wedding plan. And Emma tries to tell her that her and Derek haven't even discussed it. She hasn't been asked, nothing's gone on. So then Emma tells her nanny, her maid, her surrogate grandmother, what Mrs. Andrews says. Then Emma goes to the Blue Moon to talk to Lila's employer and find out some information there. So the guys that were talking political stuff at the polo match are also frequent guests of the establishment. So they say that George Whitmer has not been there. So then Florence and Flossie approaches, and Anthony Dobbs approaches as Emma. He's the former cop that was dismissed from his job because he was ordering people to pay him protection money for protecting them. So then Emma goes to the Chateau to talk to Mrs. Wetmore and runs into Harry Lear. She had overheard Harry Lear telling his buddies that he wants to marry Maud, one of the ladies, one of the daughters, because I lost the page. Because sorry. She has money, and he doesn't even love her or like her or anything like that. He just wants to marry her for her dowry. So he runs into Emma at Chateau, and he accuses her of telling Maud, his intendant, the real truth. But and the real truth is Emma never spoke to the girl at all. So then she talks with Jesse in the afternoon, and the case has been reopened. They had first decided it wasn't worth investigating because of Lila's occupation. But then when they discovered that Lila's neck was broken prior to her arrival at Chateau, they want to investigate it further. She then goes back to see Sanford Whitaker and sees Anthony Dobb, who says he saw James Bennett and Dominic Elworth at the Blue Moon. So then Derek shows up, and she tells him about his mother's visit and her reason for said visit. And he tells her his father disinherited him, and for taking the mother's side of the story about what happened in the other book 2 books ago. So at first, Emma's really delighted because that makes them equal in society's eyes. They're both, he's not the echelon class anymore. He's down middle class or something like that now. So at first, her initial reaction is excitement. And that later changes. Her head starts getting in the way. Her head is forever getting in the way of her heart. I swear this girl is going to sabotage life forever. So then she decides she wants to go to this men's club, the casino, and she has Derek go with her. And they run into Alfred and Reggie, brothers of Nellie there, her cousin. And they say they know Lila. And then Mr. James Gordon Bennett, who owns the Herald, who also is part of the casino, tries to get Derek and Emma to leave, and they don't. Then while they're leaving the casino, the cigar shop goes up. It was owned by Dominic Ellsworth, and some people are thinking again about the protection racket, that maybe the fire wasn't an accident, maybe these is connected to the burglaries. And then Emma calls on Derek to meet her and go with her to confront James Bennett about the fire and about other incidents that happened. When they exit, Mr. Bennett follows them, and they have a conversation outside. The next day, news of Emma's visit is on the front page. She's visited the reading room, she's visited the casino, and it's on the front page of the Herald, and Mr. Milford calls Emma and fires her. So then she goes to see Mr. Bennett again, and she's intercepted by Derek's mom, who says the reverse of what she said the first time around. The second visit is like, I don't want you to have anything to do with my son. I don't ever want you to see him again, blah, 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 blah. So then after her visit with Miss Andrews, she goes over to see Mr. Bennett again and asks him for a job. He says he'll think about it. Later, Derek visits, and they discuss the unethical it would be for her to work at his newspaper, The Sun. However, we will revisit this at the end of the book. Jesse arrives to tell her that Lila's Buford neck was snapped before she went down the stairs. They reopened the case. The things are who did the killing, who wants to frame George Wetmore for the murder. So they go back to the estate to check on the area where she was killed. And the scuff marks are actually soot. So the person that left the soot works with coal. So now that changes their perspective a little bit on the whodunit. And so they arrive. So at first, they're not allowed in. This Wetmore lets them in. So this is the thing. So we did all that. So let me just get my notes here. So then Gemma and Eric and Jesse discuss the case and wonder if any of the burglaries or the fires were the result of the extortion. And this has them going back to Mr. Dobbs, who was again originally accused of doing the extortion racket 2 books ago. So there were more burglaries, and Emma goes back to the Blue Moon, and she has Derek wait outside. And while he's outside, her brother Brady arrives. Apparently, him and his future wife Hannah. Hannah is a medical nurse, and she treats the ladies of the evening for monthly visits to check on them and stuff like that. So that's why he was there. When they go to leave the brothel, Derek is missing, and it causes Emma a brief panic attack. But then they learn where he went and who he saw. He reports back. So then they go back to the casino, and Derek, Emma, and Jesse talk to Mr. Bennett again, and they want to know more about the family that had occupied a lot of Lila's attention while she was at the casino. And there's a little tidbit there. There's a little hinty-winty there. You got to pay attention. I didn't see it coming till the end. So while they're at the casino, they run into Grace, Nellie's wife. So she's Miss Vanderbilt, so she goes over to the family and like, oh, hey, I'm Grace Vanderbilt. It's nice to see you, and gets the names of all the people involved for Emma. And things are going really good until the grandfather, who had stepped away from the table, comes back and realizes what's going on and panics, and stuff happens. So then Emma goes back to the wharf thingy, and she runs into Jonas, who is a friend or co-worker, should I say, of Mr. Dobbs on the dock. So there's some interesting situation that goes on there. So there's some hints there. So then Jesse shows up and says that the Hartwells claim they have no knowledge of Lila Buford, but that is wrong. They are lying. But you don't know that until further into the book. They go to the second polo match, and Emma learns that there's a fix in it, and they're going to do it with the horses, and it's just, I don't even want to know. That's just not my cup of tea. So they learn about the cheating by bringing in the superior horse, and Lavina makes an appearance and says she went home and discovered all the stuff that Derek's father is pulling. So then Emma gets attacked, and she's hurt bad, and some more situations happen. I don't want to spoil the end of it for you. So they end up, the whodunit has been a steady, hi, how are you, and leaves type, comes on stage, leaves the stage, comes on stage, leaves it. So the visits of the killer or killers has been brief throughout the entire book. Sometimes you have books where the killer shows up, says hi, and leaves, and then you never see them again till the end. They're always in the background or off stage, as one of my author calls it. This particular character makes continual visits, small visits, throughout the entire book. So that's interesting too, to keep track of if you're a good mushy, know who done it type thing. So then stuff happens at the end, and the mystery is solved, and then we have a surprise. And Derek lays the surprise on her, and it's kind of a cliffhanger-y type thing. He has bought a local paper, and he wants Emma to be his partner, and she'll be able to write stories, do whatever she wants. She'll have a career here in town. It's a very small paper with a very small following, but Derek is hoping to make it grow into a larger newspaper. And Emma Emma's a little, she still thinks it's a little unethical. We had this conversation before, and all this kind of stuff. And at the same time, they're in the middle of this conversation. The telephone rings, and it's Mr. Bennett. He's decided to give Emma a job at the newspaper, but not here in town. He wants her in Manhattan, but she knows Newport better than she knows Manhattan, and she tells him she will think about it. So now we've got two offers on the table. One from Derek, her potential suitor, future husband. They're driving me crazy with this plotline. It's just like they keep taking a step forward and then they take a couple steps back. Each book is driving me crazy. And then also, does she leave her hometown? Does she leave her family? Does she leave her friends? Does she leave everything she knows for her career? So she has to make the decision. And I like the ending of the book. The author tells you the history behind some of the characters in the book, in the story. How, some of the people are real or based on real, but she fictionalized them. And I really like that at the end. Victoria Thompson does that too at the end of her Gaslight series, and I really enjoy that too. Chateau and the Whitmore family might not be quite as well known outside of Rhode Island as the Breakers and the Vanderbilts. But both the house and the family were no less significant in leaving their mark on Newport's history. George Peabody Whitmore, son of China trade merchant William Whitmore, served as governor of Rhode Island and a U.S. senator. Though born during a family trip to England, George Whitmore was raised in Newport and is buried in Newport Island Cemetery. Upon his father's death, he inherited Chateau, an Italian villa completed in 1852 and remodeled in the Second Empire French style in the 1870s. He continued to live there when his duties didn't take him to Washington, D.C. What set the Whitmores apart from their Gilded Age family was quiet dignity that never sacrificed for the sake of ostentation. Rather, like the Astors, they were secure in their place in society and had little to prove. They were neither publicity seekers nor scandal courters. While society matrons went to great lengths to marry off their daughters to titled Europeans, the Whitmore daughters, Edith and Maud, remained single their entire lives. They chose to marry for love or not at all, so they didn't. Their younger brothers having passed away at early ages, Edith and Maud inherited their father's vast wealth along with his properties. They split their time between Chateau and an apartment in New York City. But it was Edith who truly continued to call Chateau home until her death in 1951. Both sisters were active politically, both Republicans like their father, with Maud holding office in the National Civic Federation, the American Women's Association, and the Women's National Republican Club. Chateau was the greatest house in Newport until the Vanderbilts began building their palazzos in 1890. It is now considered one of the smaller cottages in Newport, but don't be fooled into thinking the visitor will come away disappointed or that the stoic Whitmores were frugal in the design of their home or the comforts they enjoyed. On the quite contrary, the house is a treasure trove of architectural delights and ingenious innovations that made life for the Whitmores luxurious. And you can read the rest of that when you read the book. But it was good, and I am really enjoying this series. And I will definitely do Victoria Thompson again and go through it for you guys. It's a really wonderful series, but I am really enjoying the heck out of this. So I think it's time for some JD Robb soon. I'm getting to the point where I need some JD Robb. She was on she did a podcast the other day on her Facebook page. So check out Nora Roberts or JD Robb's Facebook page for her little podcast the other day. And please hit the like and subscribe and let me know I'm doing a good job. It's just me reading books, talking books. There's nothing fancy going on here. No themes, no special effects, no special editing. It's nothing. It's just me talking books. Are you coming over here, Missy? Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. Fine. There goes my co-host. Oh. She's going to sit down and look at me. So anyways, you have a good day. Are you gonna come back and say hi? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here you go. She's this high. She hates being on camera. Anyway, have a good day. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.